This is Grow Omaha Uncut, where you can watch our radio show, including what goes on in the commercial breaks. And be sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons. Good morning and welcome to the show. Jeff Beals here at your service. And we are brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center and D&M Roofing and Siding. Ladies and gentlemen, you will not find another show in the metro area that talks about what we talk about, and that is real estate, construction, business expansion, overall just the growth and development of your favorite city. We're all about making Omaha more vibrant and more prosperous, and the man that helps me talk about that on the radio every Saturday morning, legendary real estate deal maker in the flesh, Trenton Magid.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, Mr. Beals.
Well, good morning to you. And
our city is going.
I tell you, when I was putting the show together this morning, I actually ran out of time. I mean, there's not enough time in the hour for us to talk about the things I would have liked to talk about. And so we'll just kind of hit the highlights. And I'll tell you what, one of the big things last night, first night for Steel House Omaha, I was not there, but in talking and reading about people who were, sounds like it was a huge hit.
It was the Killers.
It was the Killers. And so Steelhouse Omaha, over $100 million investment located immediately northeast of the Hullen Performing Arts Center. There were people lined up yesterday morning to get general admission tickets. One of the TV stations interviewed some fellow from the UK who was in Gary, Indiana to see a concert, and he wants to see a concert in every U.S. state. And I guess Nebraska last night, Omaha, Steelhouse Omaha was number 30-something. Anyway, drives 1 hour sleep, in line by 5 a.m. yesterday morning to be able to get into the Steelhouse to see the Killers.
I hope he got in.
I hope he did too. He was, from what I understand, he was pretty early in line, so he was probably okay.
Slept right through it.
Well, we have a restaurant review this week. Sarah Baker Hansen writes a column for us every other week called Grow Omaha Eats, in which we talk about eating and drinking and dining and visiting some of the best restaurants in town. It's brought to you by Cheer Athletics. Cheer Athletics is the nation's #1 all-star cheer gym. They have 12 locations nationwide, including the one here in Omaha, which is located near Highway 50 and 370 in Papillion. If you're ever looking for a great organization that really develops kids and teaches them sportsmanship, leadership, communication skills, how to compete and get through life, go to Cheer Athletics. So this week, it was the 38 best restaurants in Omaha. It wasn't really a traditional Sarah Baker Hansen review. She is commissioned and charged by Eater magazine, eater.com, to write the Omaha review. And it's kind of an Eater thing where you do the 38 best restaurants. And so it'll be interesting. You know, people will probably debate, you know, if they agree with all 38.
Right. And they didn't rank them. It was just kind of, here's 38 restaurants that you must go to, because it would be really hard to rank them.
Yeah, they're listed from west to east in Omaha, and it's everything from coffee shops to upscale bars to, you know, the fine dining places. So if you'd like to check it out, just go to growomaha.com, and in the navigation bar, you will see the word EATS, E-A-T-S. Click on that. You can see that and all of the other reviews that Sarah has written for us in the past.
Anything stick out to you?
Not really. I agreed with. Now, I'll be honest. There were a couple restaurants on the list that I've yet to go, and I'm a little bit ashamed of that. But of the ones that I have been to, I think she was spot on. They were all great places. Now, I didn't know if I did enough due diligence to figure out restaurants that weren't on there that I think should have been. I'm sure there were a couple.
A couple that might have been missed, or there's only so many she can put on the list.
Yeah,
I'm not sure how she decided it was 38 and not 35.
I kind of think
40.
that might be an eater.com thing.
Okay.
I'm not sure about that, but I think eater.com might be like, it declares it being 38 or something like that. But she would know if that's true or not. But, you know, it's opinion sort of thing. So, and I generally like Sarah's opinions about restaurants, agree with them probably 90% or more of the time, but there might be some that I would put on the list that she didn't.
Everyone's got a unique palate.
Well, let's go into our news of the week, which is brought to you by Eagle Mortgage. Eagle Mortgage is in the mortgage business, as the name would indicate. And so they help you get those home loans. And it doesn't matter whether you're going to go conventional loan or if you're going to do like FHA, VA. They even have a couple other ones that they do. The main thing is use them because they do such a great job. As a mortgage broker, they shop the market. They don't have to be, they're not tied in or beholden to one bank, so they can get the best deal for you. And they're very customer oriented, so you can sit down with one of their mortgage brokers, figure out what's right for you. They communicate with you. They help you through the whole process and just do a good job of it. You can find them in person at the Eagle Mortgage office, 114th and Davenport, or online at eaglemortgagecompany.com. Well, there were a couple big stories this week, Trenton, but we're going to start with Civic Square. This is the Civic Auditorium site downtown, bordered by 17th, 19th Street, Chicago Street, Capitol Avenue. A couple of years ago, it was announced...
9-acre site.
Thank you. A couple of years ago, it was announced that White Lotus would be the developer. And then we've been waiting a little bit about details. And those details, or at least some of them, were released this week. Looks like it's going to be about a $2 million project on 4 city blocks. As you said, that equates to 9 acres.
$2 million?
200?
Yeah.
Yeah. Did I say 2?
2 million.
Yeah. $200 million. Same thing, just a couple of zeros. And... so believe it or not, this is hard to believe. The Civic Auditorium was fully demolished in 2017. So for 6 years.
I would guess longer.
Oh, really? That's a long time. 6 years, that's just been a grassy wasteland of nothing in downtown. So this is a really ambitious plan. 200 housing units, grocery store, fitness club, restaurant and retail space, offices. One of the cool things about it is it would reintroduce 18th Street and part of Davenport Street, so you get a little bit more of that city grid that has been missing on that super block site there. Looks like a lot of 5-story buildings with apartments, although on the northeast corner of the project, it looks like a bunch of what appear to be multi-level townhomes would be present, but good mixed-use project. It's ambitious. I think the big question that I have when I review the project, Trenton Maggot, is the grocery store. They say they want to put a grocery store, but they never said the name of a grocery store. They never said if they are negotiating with a grocery store.
Well, so since we started this show about 1,000 episodes ago, we're on our 20th year on the show, and from the beginning, we've talked about, we'll know that we have made a difference, and we're not going to take all the credit, just most of it, that we've been talking about a grocery store coming to downtown Omaha, that we'll know that Omaha has made it when we get a 40 or 50,000 square foot at least grocery store. A typical Hy-Vee now is probably 75 to 100,000 square feet. It's not downtown yet, but it's where you can get everything, and it's not just Cubbies or Patrick's in the time, where you have decent prices and you don't have to go to Council Bluffs or what would be the one west on? I
know some people go to that Hy-Vee at Saddle Creek and Center. There's Nuestra Familia at 29th and St. Mary's. You got to go a little ways out to get groceries.
So I think it'd be cool. I mean, obviously people would love a Whole Foods or Trader Joe's or something like that. But if they can pull it off, and if it looks anything like those beautiful renderings, White Lotus, led by our friend Arun Agrawal, is perfectly capable. They have plenty of experience. They've got a great relationship with the city. They understand development, and it's not an easy site. So you need somebody that has ties to the community, and I think that there'll be a medical aspect to it, I would guess, maybe a hotel and convenience. And it is a great location, and they spell it out on their website. And great access off I-480.
My guess is any urban grocery store in Omaha is probably going to be in that 20 to 30,000 square foot range. It could still be full service at that range. You know what I think would be the perfect, absolute, ideal urban grocery store downtown?
Aldi.
Fairway.
Yeah.
Fairway would be perfect. I love Fairway. It's at that right size, and I go to a Fairway all the time. Yeah, you could do something like that. Hy-Vee prototyped an urban concept in downtown Des Moines, Iowa, a couple years ago. Not sure how well that's doing, but if it is doing well financially, that would also be perfect for downtown Omaha. I think it was in that 25,000, 30,000 range, if I remember correctly. So we'll keep an eye on that. there's still a long ways to go before this thing is done on the Civic Auditorium site, but site preparation is supposed to begin early next year.
Did you read the thing that was it 79 or when, I don't know, maybe it was 1956, big difference. Elvis, when he first played at the Civic Auditorium, it was $600 for the first show and like $275 for the second show. That's how much, that was his payment.
That's all he made?
$600.
I thought you were saying people had to pay that. I'm like, that's a lot of money in 1950s.
So tickets must have been $2 or something. Isn't that wild?
Oh,
it was probably a lot more in 1979.
Times have changed.
1977.
UNMC held a groundbreaking ceremony this week for its new innovation hub on the Saddle Creek West campus. It's going to be called Catalyst. Not really a groundbreaking because they're basically going to renovate the steel skeleton of the old Omaha Steel Works factory. But a couple little things came out about this. Looks to be about a $60-some million project. It would have 670 full-time jobs that would be in the building. And the Med Center plans on relocating its Unimed and Unitech organizations, which are the groups that basically bring academic research into marketable private business. And a nice start to the west side of the UNMC campus, which is going to go through dramatic overhauls. And now the UNMC administration tower, which was announced, I think, a couple years ago, haven't heard much lately. Originally, I believe it was supposed to start by now.
Nice renderings with the bridge over Saddle Creek.
I put an inquiry into UNMC, and they said we should hear more details about that later this summer. So we'll keep an eye out for that.
Great projects.
So the City Council has chosen Leo A. Daly for site selection and design of the combined police and fire headquarters. The city will pay Leo A. Daly $3 million for this. Presumably, the project will be in or very close to downtown Omaha. It would require a vote of the public. The plans are, if all goes well, to open this thing in 2027, which will be here before you know it. So Trenton, the police headquarters is currently between, Jackson and Howard at about 15th and 14th. And then the fire headquarters is along Jackson between 15th and 16th. So they're next door to each other. Both of them are very aged looking and underwhelming in terms of providing the space that the two departments need. Where do you think this thing goes downtown?
I think it goes close. I don't know if they could take one of them down and fit a taller building on there. But there's some response time issues, too, isn't there? I
believe so. We had a listener write to me last week that was formerly with the city and talked about 4-minute response times or what have you. And if you look at the example building that Daly submitted to the city that could convey the potential scale of this building, no offense, but it struck me as almost ridiculous. And I say this as a guy that loves tall buildings. It was like a 20-story building that looked like a condo building they're putting in Lincoln that's planned for the Lincoln area. So I don't know what the deal is. I have a hard time seeing a police and fire headquarters being more than, 5 to 10 stories. But we'll see what happens. It'll be fascinating to see where it goes. You got to keep in mind, too, that the current headquarters that they want to get rid of are prime redevelopment candidates because they're in that streetcar zone with the new streetcar line. And my hope is that you would almost not put the new police and fire headquarters in that zone, because it's like you would be taking away potential private development space for government. And, the government stuff doesn't pay any property taxes. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how that all plays.
They need a good location with access to the infrastructure, but they can't go too far away.
They can't, yeah. But time will tell. All right, a couple other news items that we want to hit upon today. Construction is underway on a Class A medical office building at 119th and West Center Road. The new building is going up on the site of a former funeral home mortuary, and got one tenant signed and apparently others to come.
Is it a dentist, do we think? I always thought that was a dentist office going up, but
it was conveyed as a medical building in social media this week. Maybe it is a dentist as the first tenant.
Yeah, we'll find out.
Could be. Let's see. Community Health Development Partners plans to redevelop a building that's currently used for indoor parking at 112 South 20th Street. So this is 20th and
Very
Dodge.
visible building.
Yeah, immediately southeast of Central High School. And the building's not even 30,000 feet. It's 3-level parking. So plans call for making the lower 2 levels health and medical office space, and then turning the rooftop, which is currently parking, into an outdoor event space. So that could be interesting. We'll keep an eye on that project.
It better have pickleball.
Who doesn't have pickleball these days? And finally,
I got a proctologist's office, but I got pickleball for the people waiting.
And finally, Kiewit Corporation will move at least 4 divisions from its current office space at 127th and I Street. Old-time Omahans would know this as the old Western Electric building. They're moving 4 divisions from that building to the PayPal campus near Interstate 80 and Giles.
Doug Kindig, the mayor of La Vista, and I, and a lot of other people are loving it. I've got 3 lots for sale available right across the street from it, or right between that and the Nebraska Multi-Sports Complex. And they can have 900 to 1,000 employees there over time. They've got a little lake there. They've got a basketball court. And as someone who's been involved for 15 to 20 years in the Southport area, I show clients there all the time. And there's some great things going up. The Smash Park's going up. There's also a lot of attention on the 32 acres next to Alamo Drafthouse Cinema, and that's the west side. So the whole area is about 237 acres, and Kiewit is a welcome addition.
Oh, yeah. It'll be a big shot in the arm for an area that's already doing very, very well. Of course, Kiewit's headquarters and Kiewit University will remain in North Downtown.
And I also have a 6,000 square foot forward bank space with a drive-through with great signage on the interstate right next to Cabela's as well.
And that's your news of the week, brought to you by Eagle Mortgage, eaglemortgagecompany.com. And we're going to take our first break of the day. And when we do, we're going to come back and we're going to bring on our friend Jason Thiellen, who is the CEO of E&A Consulting, to talk about an important issue in Omaha. The lack of starter homes and the importance of getting people into home ownership and some related topics. We're going to talk about a nonprofit organization that Jason's part of. So this is a very important conversation for our future. You don't want to miss it. But you are listening to Grow Omaha. I'm Jeff Beal, sitting next to Trenton Magid. We're brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center and D&M Roofing and Siding on News Radio 1110 KFAB.
By any of Anderson convenience markets in metro area locations, you probably noticed a change. Quality Amoco fuels are back. Look for the Amoco logo at Anderson Convenience Market. For generations, Amoco was one of the most iconic fuel brands in America, and now it's better than ever. With Amoco, you get high-quality fuel prepared with the Invigorate detergent package, resulting in the best long-term care for your engine. Anderson Convenience Market, serving Omaha since 1952, and now with quality Amoco fuel.
Thanks, man. Exclamation point. Keep listening, period.
Who win at the GM says, remember, Rosie, we have lots and lots of luxury
anything that you want to
vehicles,
say?
not just
For the
Cadillac,
Uncut?
right? GMCs.
I'm just happy to be here. Now that Jeff's not here, we can talk about him. A lot of times Jeff doesn't wear pants underneath this desk here, so if you look really closely, you don't know what you'll see.
It's always worth a short drive to
But
Edwards.
you may notice that I let him really act like he's running the show, and
So that's why you have to stay tuned, right?
he seems that he's always upbeat and he seems like he knows what he's talking about and everything, but you should see his feet trembling under the counter sometimes. I got a unique perspective, but we got to build him up, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, we got to build him up. Okay.
Who are you talking about?
Nothing.
Are you talking about my bad palate again?
Worked in retail and restaurant management for 14 years. It was time.
I'm never going to let you live that down. What are you talking
By the
about?
way, you don't let her live that out?
Heard about
I eat stuff for the press.
Well, you were the one who said it. She doesn't think I have a sophisticated palate and that I eat too
And I
much.
told Trenton,
and I eat
you're
too much
gonna
junk
bring it
food.
out. You're not gonna forget about
What's the
that.
funny thing is I don't eat junk food.
it's not
I eat too much. I will acknowledge that, but like chips and desserts, I don't eat that
Yeah, but
stuff.
some restaurants, you gotta admit,
The only time I ever get dessert.
You have said that you like some restaurants that are like.
Did you know there's a gym?
Like what? Which one?
I don't remember.
What are we? I'm not following
Most of the places I go to, you like.
So in a private conversation, she and I were talking about food and good, and she's like, yeah, Jeff is not a great palate.
Most people think I'm like pretty sophisticated.
I didn't say that.
Right? Aren't you like a foodie?
I'm a kind of a foodie. I mean, the only things I don't like, are junk food, funnel cakes at the amusement park.
I think that's what she's saying. The only thing you don't like is
only thing I
what
don't
you
like.
aspire to be. So if you like everything, that means you don't have a discriminating palate.
Well, I like everything that's high quality.
You're fixing.
That's not even snob.
I don't want to go to like Burger King. No offense to Burger King franchisees. Sometimes restaurant franchisees get upset about things we say.
I heard of a guy that went to Subway the other day.
I don't go there. And welcome back to the show. Jeff Beals and Trenton Magid at your service. We're brought to you by D&M Roofing and Siding and Dingman's Collision Center. Check out Dingman's Collision Center if you have any sort of bumps, scratches, or scrapes on the body of your car, because they'll take good care of it.
And this is it from our friend Brian Keel of Investors Realty. He is handling the leasing of that center at 118th or 119th of West Center Road. There will be a dentist like I guessed, and also radiology clients. So that's what's going on.
Perfect. That'll be a nice addition to that area. Well, we're going to talk about a very salient issue in Omaha right now, and that is housing and the availability of home ownership options for people, especially those who are just starting out or maybe are not the highest income households in the world. It's an important issue, and we have with us today Jason Thiellen, our good friend from E&A Consulting, CEO of E&A Consulting, civil engineering firm here in Omaha. Jason, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
So,
a colleague of Brad Williams, who's our frequent guest and a contributor.
Yeah, Brad
is correct.
Yeah, he's been there a long
Love
time.
it when Brad is on.
We consider Brad like our number 3 guy on the show. And we don't want him to have any sort of inferiority complex because he's just number 3. He's our extremely important number 3.
I thought you were saying he's like a 1B.
He's like a 1B.
He's in between.
Yeah.
Just so he doesn't step on number 2.
Yeah.
So, Jason, you're involved in this group called Welcome Home. Why don't you give us an overview of what Welcome Home is all about?
So Welcome Home is a nonprofit that I helped start. We're a group of individuals and businesses and some financial institutions, some other nonprofits that are focused on trying to bring down the cost of a newly constructed home through non-taxpayer type activities. And so eventually at some point the money runs out and we start continuing to throw tax dollars at this problem, and it's really not creating any real solutions. And so we are trying to partner up with our local municipalities, our relationships on the councils and inside departments, and trying to find some low-hanging fruit as it relates to regulatory items, building codes, and for our group in particular, zoning and subdivision regulations that help bring down the cost of what it takes to put a house on the market at a price that most of us can afford.
So let's start at the beginning on the issue. We see and hear of a ton of apartments going up. Mm-hmm. We hear that land prices are high, construction prices are high, interest rates have gone up over the last year, especially.
Yeah.
Are the developers is the government, and do a lot of people want people to? You hear that whoever they are wants everybody to rent and not own. Is that a misnomer?
I don't know if that's a conspiracy theory or something, but I think what's happening in the market, and I go back to the 2008-2009 crash, it created everything came to a grinding halt here in our market in particular, and certainly out in the rest of the country. But what I witnessed, or at least went through, it just stopped, like somebody turned the faucet off. We didn't build any homes, and then we lost contractors and engineers and architects.
And it takes 2 years really to take a farm and turn it into a neighborhood, right?
Yep. I used to tell people 12 to 18 months, but it's now probably 2 to 24 months to 2 to 2.5 years. So it takes amount of time. So when you stop the flow, and what happened is we quit building, quit developing, and then when things came back in 12 and 13, we were behind. And so now we're playing catch up. So that's a loss of product on the marketplace. I think what's causing this idea that we want people to rent versus own is just sheer price of a house. The average price last year of a house was, do you know what the average price of a newly constructed house was last year?
I will guess 300,000.
What do you think?
I will guess right about the same.
476,000.
In Omaha, Nebraska.
That's correct.
You can tell it's been a while since I've been in the home searching market.
Those are not starter homes.
No. Well,
we don't build starter homes though anymore, right?
We're not even allowed to say starter homes.
No, you're not.
What do we call them? Entry level? No. First homes?
Yes, maybe.
So Jason, so we have this shortage because Trent and I are constantly hearing from people. Sometimes it's the young professionals that work in our office. Sometimes it's Grow Omaha listeners, and they'll say things like, let's say you're a lower middle class type household, or you're a 25-year-old young professional that doesn't want to rent anymore, but you can't afford to go to that $400,000 house. First they look at that existing homes. Well, the ones that are affordable, there's like a battle of multiple bidders to get those. So we've got this situation in our hands, and if you ask me, society is healthier when you have a significant percentage, a large percentage of the population that owns rather than rents. I mean, anytime people have skin in the game, it's good for Omaha, it's good for America. Talk to us a little bit about these issues and what's driving all this.
Well, so if you're someone that's making, I know what we pay our young professionals, $75,000 to $100,000 a year, and you average mortgage, and if you're paying $476,000 for a house, which means if you're a first-time home buyer, right, and you use NYFA or Freddie Fannie, you get your first mortgage, and then your second is always a line of credit. Your payments, $3,000 a month. I mean, that is a massive. My first house was a Hearthstone home in 2004. We paid $147,000 for a 3-bedroom ranch, 1,400 square feet. Right, that house today is $450,000, and so I agree with you 100%. The reason why I'm passionate about this subject is lack of home ownership in any community is not good. If you have a community full of renters that have no skin in the game, they have no vested interest in making sure their community continues to thrive.
Yeah, you want them to be sticky residents. You want them to stay here and not be transient. And when they're leasing, sometimes it's just easier to pick up. They have less stuff.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yes, that is correct. And if you anytime you own something, you're going to take care of it. You have a vested interest in seeing things around it being better. That's what home ownership does for a community. Not that renting's bad. Everybody in the room has rented, right? Everybody's a renter at some point in their life.
Years I did.
For years, yeah. And that's part of the process. But that first home, the ability for someone to buy that first home, it does so much for you in terms of just your economic health, but also for community health as well. For every $1,000 that a house goes up, almost 600 families can't afford the house. Wow. That's how tight this is
in Omaha.
That's a nationwide study.
No, but the 600 people.
You would apply that to Omaha as well. Back in the old Hearthstone days, they used to say for every $25 that the house, their mortgage went up a month, it would knock almost 100 people out of the ability to afford the house. And so when I talk to people, I ask them, that's a crazy statistic. Was even back then, and I don't know if that's still true. When's the last time $25 meant that much to you?
Yeah.
A month.
So what do we need to bring down the house of the price of the first home? Does it need to be down to $200,000?
Yeah,
I know there's houses going up
for sure that
are $200,000 now or $150,000.
Yeah, I'm not aware of that low of a house for sale in the marketplace.
You got to take the wheels off.
They no longer exist.
You're talking about that. Yeah, you can't. Yeah, we don't do mobile home parks. That's for sure. That is one. Look, manufactured housing is a solution to this issue for sure. If you look into that product type, it really has come a long ways from what it was.
So what's the resistance?
20 years ago.
Well, and that's actually probably related to a lot of regulatory stuff, which we're going to talk to Jason about in the next segment. But we do have to break for our middle of the show news. And when we come back, we'll have our commercial real estate development spotlight brought to you by Noddle Companies. And then we're going to talk to Jason Thiellen of E&A Consulting and Welcome Home about some of these regulatory things that are standing in the way of homes being more affordable. You're listening to Grow Omaha, brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center and D&M Roofing and Siding. Back in a moment on News Radio 1110 KFAB.
What's your website?
It's welcomehomecoalition.com.
Jason, it was better toward the end of that interview, but the beginning you were not close enough.
I was
to the
not
mic.
close enough to the mic.
But then it got better as you got a little
How close do you want?
You don't want to touch with your lips.
Okay.
As close as you can be without getting the lip fungus that's on it.
Got it.
Okay. And then Trenton, we were losing you a lot because you were a little too far away.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll go straight.
Well, and then turned in the head.
Turn in your head. Yeah.
Turn in your head.
And your neck
And
brace.
coughing.
Specifically about the RNBSM program. Are you
I just love it when Gary does these Clarkson College commercials because I worked there for 7
Did you?
years.
My wife's a Clarkson College grad.
Oh, is she? What years was she there?
She graduated in 2002 or
Oh, I was
three when
gone.
we were married.
I left in 01. I was there from
Amy
94.
took classes there for interpreting.
You went to
College
Clarkson?
American?
No, College St. Mary. College.
Oh, sorry.
College.
No, yeah, we're
Sorry.
talking Clarkson. Yeah, I worked there from 94 to 01.
Oh, did you?
Yeah,
So they
before I went to
did a
Georgia.
deal where if she worked there for then 3 years, after they paid all her tuition back
Nice.
to us. So we, like after 3 years, got a check for like $50,000.
She had to go work at Clarkson Hospital or something like that.
That's a nice windfall.
That's
Yeah.
yeah. Unless you run up a bunch of credit card debt and then you use it all to pay it off, and you go,
Oh, sure, there's always that. No, that was I was always proud of when I worked there back in the 90s and all that. I was proud of the education product. I think we did a good job. I'm sure they still do.
Yeah, do too as well.
Yeah.
But dying for candidates. to
Oh
come.
my God! Yeah, there was something about Nebraska Medicine's moving that daycare out of that because Clarkson needs the space. Clarkson
that right?
College needs the space. So
that
that's a
right?
good sign. Wow. Yeah. It's also interesting. Speaking of daycare, a lot of these big companies around the country, and I think it's happening in Omaha too, are getting rid of these corporate employee daycares, which is a bit of a concern. I would agree because you need to make it so these single moms and young parents can work for you.
Yeah.
But I guess with all of the remote work, a lot of them they can't make it work.
You know, College St. Mary has housing for single mothers and their children.
Do they really?
That's
Yeah, they just hired a Heather Smith, who's a friend of ours, who's the new president.
Yeah.
And she's not a nun. She's an MBA. She was big at children's hospital.
nun.
So they want to be more progressive, and
Right.
and it's all religions are welcome, and so they need nursing.
Well, fundamentally, I think the
Is
conversation.
your wife still a nurse?
She's a nurse practitioner now.
Okay.
She's gone on and works at the VA now.
Where did she get the nurse practitioner?
From UNMC, I
Oh,
believe.
that's her. Yeah.
I
Miller.
can't remember. But I think fundamentally the conversation needs to start happening. Instead of saying, well, let's make it easier for single moms, let's talk about what was causing that symptom, that issue where you've got one person in the home trying to raise some kids, and that's really to me what we don't talk about enough of.
Yeah.
And why is that happening?
That one's politically dangerous to talk
Well,
about.
for sure, right? But it needs to be talked about.
Yeah.
But we're not going to do that because if I start solving problems as a politician, I don't have a job.
Yeah.
That's my opinion.
Job security.
That's right.
Well, look at big pharma. You can say big pharma.
Oh,
They don't want to cure you. They want to keep you.
they want to keep you 100%. 100%. Have you watched the documentary on the Oxycontin, the doctor?
No, I never did.
Oh my God, I've not watched it.
What's it
all.
called?
I'd have to go back and look at it, but basically. It's like a Project Veritas, and they all kind of did this research. But basically, the medical institutions and the big pharma was basically knew that this was super addictive and was killing people, but they didn't care, and they were incentivizing docs to just throw oxy at all these till they get addicted. So they
Oh,
keep
down in
buying
Florida,
stuff.
is the worst.
Oh my God, yeah, it's a part of that guy that had kind of like a pill farm or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's including some of that. But I think what we learned through COVID is they're all in cahoots.
Yeah.
Right?
Driven by
I mean,
Markets 8 metro
you know,
area
if they make $10 billion and it kills a bunch of people and they got to pay $1 billion in fines, do they care?
Right.
They don't.
Yeah.
So,
Price of doing business.
price it.
What do we want to hit?
Well, I think let's talk about some solutions. I think.
Talk about people that get a hold of you.
Yep. So we've got a number. We've got a website.
How much have you raised so far?
A few $100,000. We're trying to get. We need some more members.
You got to get some naming rights. How much is membership?
What if we focused, guys, on we come back and talked about what the regulations are that are standing in the way, and then we finish with solutions.
So,
recommended solutions.
yeah, and that's fine. And I don't know if we do want to dig into some of that regulatory stuff.
I would be very high level.
Yes.
And only only about 1 to 2 minutes of regulatory.
I'm going to talk. I'm just going to talk density. One of the things that we need to do is density and different product types for sale.
Or should we just focus on solutions?
I think you focus on some solutions, or maybe ask, like what are we
So we're
looking
talking.
at?
You're more focused on single-family houses or row homes
For sale starter home construction is kind of where we're at now. What that product looks like,
So what if I came back and said something like, one of the problems with this is actually some regulations are not necessarily friendly towards building lots of new starter homes. But Jason, let's talk about some of the various solutions we could do.
Is it minimum lot sizes?
It's all of that. Minimum lot sizes, minimum impervious. So part of some of that is detailed stuff that you and I talk about all the time. That most people are like, what?
Well, especially if they're just driving down Dodge Street in their car.
So what I've started with is, look, we talk about the loss of production of our current acres, right? We used to get 4 to 5 units an acre on a piece of dirt for a subdivision.
That's what I think we talk about.
Now it's at 2.6.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're still 100 acres is only yielding 260 units when it used to yield 400 to 500.
That's what
and
we
the
say.
costs associated with those lots. So the big thing that really gets people's attention is you have to build somewhere between 4 and 6 times the cost of a lot. So I always use 5. If I buy a lot for $50,000, I need to put 5 times that for the house, so $250,000. That makes sense. But when lots are 90 or 100 or 120,000, which they are this year, the minimum you're building is $450,000.
Mm-hmm.
So where we need to start, if we really want to make an impact, for every $10,000 we can chop out of the cost of the lot, in theory, should save
10 seconds?
Yeah, should save $50,000 on the house.
Need another bus though to go down. You should get their lot.
Yeah, right.
Where the biggest stars in the world connect with you. Download it today. Listen to News Radio 1110 KMAB anywhere, anytime on your free iHeartRadio app. All your music, radio, and podcasts.
And welcome back to Grow Omaha, brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center and D&M Roofing and Siding. We are going to jump right into the commercial real estate development spotlight of the week, brought to you by Noddle Companies. Noddle Companies is based right here in Omaha, doing real estate development projects all over the United States, but the ones we really care about are right here at home. Exarban Village, Steel Ridge in the Gretna Papillion area. We've got River's Edge in Council Bluffs, the Village Point Medical Center, and many, many others. And the one we're going to talk about today, though, is the Builders District in downtown Omaha. This is part of North Downtown. It's where Kiewit has its world headquarters and Kiewit University. A lot of other things happening in that Builders District. And we've got a construction update. The Mass Timber office building, planned for 1501 Mike Fahey Street, has gone vertical.
Yes.
Yeah, so it was really cool. We'll post a picture of it on the Grow Omaha Projects page this weekend. But we were down there yesterday, and they are working already on the second floor. So it's a mass timber building. So if you look at it, the vertical supports are wood beams. They're wood timbers. Now the horizontals are steel beams, but it's cool to look at it if you're in that 15th and Mike Fahey, 16th and Mike Fahey area, and you're a construction nerd, go and take a look at that, because it's really cool to see those wood verticals holding up the building. But it'll be a nice multi-tenant office building, 5 stories when it's done, but it is going vertical. And that is your Noddle Companies Development Spotlight of the week. We have with us Jason Thiellen. He's the CEO of E&A Consulting, civil engineering firm, and he's a volunteer leader of Welcome Home, a group that is encouraging home ownership and the construction of new housing for ownership for people at different income levels. And Jason, when I think about this shortage and this problem we're having, I sit here and I think to myself, why can't some developer just go get, a nice big chunk of land somewhere and shrink the lot sizes and use common amenities, put more houses per acre on the property, and boom, problem solved? Well, it's not so easy.
No, it's not. Over the years, as some of the regulatory items have come in, we've lost a density on our West Omaha subdivisions, as well as in Sarpy County. when I got into Omaha in 2006 and we were working with Celebrity in Hearthstone, we were averaging somewhere between 4 and 5 units an acre on 100 acres of ground. And so, let's just do 4, it's just 400 units. And today's market on that same 100 acres, same infrastructure, same cost, land's higher, but grading all that, we're only getting somewhere around 2.6, 2.7 units an acre. Some of that has to do with the house size. Some of that has to do with regulatory items. A lot of those regulatory items are federal, though they're out of our local control. But there are some local things we can do. And as a building community, we build single-family homes and we build apartments.
So it's one of those things where a lot of people think that our system's not broken.
Correct.
And why should we fix it? But you're saying when it's not affordable to more people, it's a problem.
For sure. I think, what people don't understand when we talk about affordability, for example, as you start going east towards the river, why aren't more homes being affordable? The homes that are brought on today are today's step up, or some of the affordable housing that those people are in existing homes today that want to either downsize or want to move up, can't leave because there is no product for them to go anywhere. Right. So there are some things that we can look at, and what we're trying to work with our local jurisdictions on is look at some of those low hanging fruit regulatory items where we think that we can maybe create some different product, different lot sizes, density. As I've thought about this, is really one of the solutions that we're focused on. How do we get more units an acre on a piece of ground at an affordable price that gives people an opportunity to move into the areas that they want to move into?
How do we do that? What's the solutions?
Well, we've been working with our mayors and our city council people and staff. Staff in Sarpy County and Omaha are really good. We've got great relationship with them, but it's government. They have a hard time looking at their regulatory items and saying, yeah, maybe that is not yielding the effect or the desired effect we wanted, or this is outdated. We see a lot of outdated code as it relates to lot sizes and product types and different things. But when you start talking about different product types, we as an industry have to start getting a little more aggressive on that kind of product. What's kind of product that we think we can actually build and sell at a price point to hit a market that's not being hit?
Earlier in the 20th century, I should say, early last century, in the East Coast and out west towards Chicago, you saw miles and miles and miles of row house developments. Yep. These row houses were 2 or 3 stories. Each one had a whole family living in it. Do we go back to some stuff like that in Omaha?
This missing middle housing has been thrown out a lot over the last 5 years, but I think so. You go to the bigger cities and people are living on top of each other. I mean, literally, fourplexes that are split, you can own a side. I call it the Midwest mentality. We just don't, most of us don't come from that kind of density and that kind of living. I'm from Western Nebraska, so, a lot of my friends lived on hundreds and hundreds of acres, right? And so, and our house had this huge lot. And so we just don't understand that living.
And what he means by density is what happens is, regardless of cost, when you spread out, when you have urban sprawl and suburban sprawl, it's taxing on the infrastructure. There's more roads, there's more utilities. You've got public services, fire, rescue, and all and infrastructure. So, do we need to make lot sizes smaller?
Yeah, I think so. And look, it's really, you have to have the product created before you create lots, right? Our subdivision codes for residential zoning pretty much across the board are very they're older, and I will give credit to Omaha, Gretna's looked at it, Papillion is looking at it with us, where we are looking at trying to create some different code or some overlays that allow for developers and builders to get creative with the kind of product. To your point, part of the problem why it's gotten so expensive, the lot price has gotten so expensive, we are dividing the cost of developing a lot by less and less units every single year, it seems like. And so if you have to put somewhere between 4 and 6 times the cost of a lot into that house. So when lots were $40,000 or $50,000, and I'm going to use a factor of 5, I could put a $250,000 house up. But right now our lot costs are somewhere between $90,000 and $120,000. The bare minimum house you're going to put on is $450,000 just to justify the cost of the lot.
Which is automatically out of the price
point
range
of most of us.
tons of home buyers.
That is correct. Really, really tough.
So, Jason, before we let you go quickly, if someone is passionate about this issue and they want to help you and everyone else at Welcome Home make Omaha friendlier for starter homes or lower value new houses, what do they do? How do they get involved?
So they can go to welcomehomecoalition.com and find our website. We have all our contact information on that. They could call us at 402-430-2942 and ask for Perry. Perry Nealon with the Nealon Strategy Group is our lobbyist group for Welcome Home.
Are donations tax deductible?
They are. We are 501, not C3. What are we? 501c6.
All righty. Well, that's good stuff, Jason. We appreciate everything you and your colleagues are doing. Appreciate you being part of the show today.
Thank you so much. I appreciate the time.
That's Jason Thiellen, CEO of E&A Consulting, talking on behalf of Welcome Home. Going to take our final break of the hour, and when we come back, it'll be the Turner Construction Lightning Round. Looking at the list, and there's quite a few things on there. You're listening to Grow Omaha, brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center and D&M Roofing and Siding on News Radio 1110 KFAB.
What's a C6?
It's whatever the tax code thing is.
Yeah.
So you can write off donations, no political stuff. So we have to do something.
So you can link this to you take the soundbite or whatever.
Yeah, and I'll give it to our people, and they'll put it out there.
And Chris, who does all of our editing. By the way, congratulations, Chris, on your son's graduation. We can't wait for the party tonight. So Chris will take that, and on growomaha.com, just your interview will be there.
And then you can link our Facebook.
Yeah. Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome. So you'll
Is
love
celebrity
it.
one of the donors?
No, that's part of the problem. So what I'm realizing right now is that unless we get the celebrities, Noddles, who does some housing stuff, D.R. Horton, like Charleston Homes, all these builders,
The big boys, yeah.
I mean, Jerry Torzone's Build Omaha gives us $10,000, but we've got enough funding to go another 3 or 4 months. We've E&A's committed 20. We are at the $25,000 level. We've committed to 3 years, but I've told them, I said after 3 years, guys, I'm the only one out there. I'm not doing it. It's an unpaid position. It's I'll just go fight it on my own, like I have been for 20 years.
Only so much. Yeah.
That's only so much I can do.
Yeah.
So but I really appreciate it.
Thanks. Well, yeah, I appreciate you being here, Jason, and
Cat juggling. I've heard of that.
cat juggling. Hey, have a great weekend.
Yeah, you too.
All doubled. Seriously though, see terms and check it out for yourself at discover.com/match.
You didn't choose to get into an accident, and you have a choice of where to get your vehicle repaired. When you choose Dingman's Collision Center,
just me.
a family
Yeah. Any material for the Uncut?
Just me.
I was asking Trenton, like, we need anything?
Oh, yeah.
So he started talking about you. That you were wearing pants. They were shaky under there. So what do you have to say?
I'm fine. Here we go.
This is Nebraska's News.
You'll have about 4 minutes.
News Radio 1110 KFAB at KFAB.com and iHeart Radio Station.
And welcome back to the show. It is time for the Turner Construction Lightning Round, in which we talk about a lot of things in a very short period of time. Hey, thank you to Turner Construction for making this possible. Turner is building the future. It's one of the best known and most resource-blessed construction companies you'll ever find anywhere in the world. And here in Omaha, they take all those resources and that deep bench and they mix it with the local contractor feel. So you've got this local team that knows and loves Omaha with a deep bench and deep resources. And the result is really good buildings for their customers and a really good place for their employees to work. So we thank Turner Construction for making this possible. Well, speaking of construction, it is expected to begin late this summer on Costco. Finally, the city council gave final approval for the Costco plant on the southeast corner of 180th and West Maple. Opening is anticipated in the fall of 2024. Trenton, let's get into some restaurant talk. Oh, yeah. Everyone loves to hear about restaurants. Salted Edge Modern Kitchen and Bar will open this summer inside A View at West Shores. A View West Shores. If you haven't been there, this is by 243rd and West Dodge Road. There's West Shores Lake there, a lot of nice houses around it. A View West Shores is a convention and meeting facility.
It's impressive.
This restaurant will be inside that. Salted Edge, modern kitchen and bar.
And that was Frank Krejci, rest in peace. That was his vision, to have retail and some retail and have a space for events and everything. And they do a good job. It's the same people from a View on State, and for weddings and corporate meetings, and the restaurant will really add to it.
El Muchacho Alegre plans to open a second location in the former Angus Burgers and Shakes space at 10177 South 168th Street near Tiburon in Gretna. The Mexican restaurant's original location is on North 72nd near Sorensen Park Plaza.
We need more Mexican restaurants. I don't know if you knew that.
Well, you're in luck because there's a couple here on the list coming up. Legend Comics and Coffee has found a permanent space at 6068 Maple Street in downtown Benson. So this was interesting. Legend lost its lease at 52nd and Leavenworth, where it had been located for some time. And so they moved into a temporary location at 31st and Leavenworth. The only problem was they couldn't do their coffee there. So I guess it was just more of a comic store. So now this summer they'll go to Benson. They'll have the full-fledged coffee and comics and everything else. And I've not been to the place, but from what I hear, it's pretty popular. So Trenton, here come two more Mexican restaurants for you. First of all, El Taco Loco plans to open at 138th and P Street. It's located right next to Corner Kick. It's a locally owned restaurant, serves Mexican street tacos as well as burritos, quesadillas, tortas, tamales, and the usual fare. Early reviews indicate that it's pretty good. Bomb Taco Taqueria and Cantina is now open in the former Burrito Envy space at 123rd and West Maple.
We're going from burritos to tacos.
The original Bomb Taco is in Papillion, which took over another Mexican restaurant space there as well. Well, we now have a soft opening date for the Wonton John's Bricks and Mortar location on 61st Street, just south of Maple in Benson, May 20th, a week
That's
from
more
today.
breakfast and lunch food, right?
Well, I don't know for sure, but the music is playing, which means that we've got to wrap this thing up. I hope everyone has a wonderful Mother's Day weekend. I'm Jeff Beals.
And I'm Trenton Magid.
You've been listening to Grow Omaha, brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center, D&M Roofing and Siding, and Turner Construction. We'll chat with you next week at 9 o'clock right here on News Radio 1110 KFAB. If you like this video, be sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons. And remember, Grow Omaha is not just media. This is a mission. We are trying to build up Omaha and make it an even better place. We can only do that with your help. Share this video with your friends, neighbors, and family.